Minimum.
Ryan's hand.
Oh, did you talk to him?
No.
Oh.
Months of experience.
I'm going to call a meeting to order. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have on the agenda election of officers tonight.
I guess
So,
we're not doing
are
that.
there any nominations for president?
Well, I guess we're not doing that. There's no one here, right?
Do you want to do that tonight, or do you want to wait till we
let's
got
wait.
5?
Let's
Okay.
wait till
right.
we have everybody.
So why don't we have a motion to continue the election of officers to our next meeting, and then after that, let's have a motion to have Mr. Brickner run the meeting for tonight's purposes.
Motion to continue election of officers to the next meeting.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Make a motion to have Marv run tonight's meeting.
Okay. Is that a motion? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that one carried. I guess I'm stuck, huh?
And we're off like a herd of turtles.
Any correspondence?
You gotta do attendance.
Okay. Old business,
I gotta do attendance.
Roll call.
oh, okay, attendance, yeah.
Just call for roll call.
Oh, it's not on here, okay. Roll call,
Margaret Brickner,
here.
Jim Clarita,
Clarida here.
Brian Damitz, Luther Williams,
Here.
Debbie Cook. We have a quorum.
Our first case tonight has been continued for the past several months. Applicant Darrell Sowers at 242 West 900 South, Hebron, Indiana, Boone Grove Township, A1 General Agricultural District, to continue operation of a well drilling business with outside storage. Sowers.
This is the list of the equipment. Do you want it?
Okay, would you like to state your reason for being here tonight?
The continuance, you wanted me to clean up a lot of the cars that I had out there. I got a lot of the cars out of there.
The problem being not the well drilling business.
Right,
Problem being the number of vehicles you have stored in your yard,
right.
which resembles very closely a junkyard. And so I guess with that, I'll open it up to anybody.
It's just what's the update? How many have been?
Oh, we got a lot of them out of there. We got probably 40 cars out there,
So how many's left?
probably 20.
Okay, so Darrell, we've continued a couple of months in a row. You're here for a use variance to allow the continued operation of your well drilling business with some outside storage. The board has voiced its concerns over the rest of the vehicles and equipment on the property. What we were angling for, I know last month, I believe you were ill.
Right,
But the month before that, the idea that I believe we asked for was, we've stated, we know that this is a well drilling business. We're not in a big hurry to not have a well drilling business in Porter County. But we needed to get a way to figure out how to get the rest of your property cleaned up.
right.
You were supposed to bring us a plan along with working towards the plan. So what we were hoping to get tonight was I've gotten rid of 40 cars. I have a list of equipment that I believe I want to be part of of a motion
Yeah, that's what,
to be allowed to remain on the property. And then I need my plan to get rid of the rest of the things that the board has pointed out that you haven't gotten rid of before tonight. This is my plan to accomplish that. So, Marvin, has he given you a list of things that he would like to remain on the property?
That's all, that's what he has here, and that's really not the issue. The
No, it's-
issue is the 35 cars you have still parked on your property that are not associated with your well drilling business. And that's what we're here to discuss tonight, how we're gonna get rid of those, because it is in actuality a junkyard. And that's not allowed.
So if you have gotten rid of 40 vehicles,
yeah.
which I'm not saying you haven't,
No,
but we probably still have 20 to 30-ish.
20
Okay.
card, yeah.
So what is the plan for those to be removed or dealt with?
Yeah, I'm working on it. I mean, I'm trying to work and do the same thing, you know, I mean, it don't happen overnight. Let's go that route,
Okay.
you know.
But in the 60 days since we have seen you,
Yeah.
40 vehicles have been removed.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
From the board, Marv, did you have an opportunity to go out there?
I've been out there 3 times in the last month,
Okay.
and I can tell you right now that there are still 30 vehicles that are not associated with the well drilling business. And every time I go out there, Darrell, you have a whole driveway full of new, additional vehicles. The last time was 3 Jeeps were parked there. and
Well, yeah, them are all gone. Well, I mean, they're gone now, you know.
We're not making any progress. We're not making enough progress, that's for sure.
And
I'm inclined to say, we'll decline your variance for a well drilling business until you get cleaned up. I'm inclined to say that. I don't, the rest of the board, of course, has to speak yet, but we're just not getting anywhere. So, Jim, you got anything you'd like to add?
I guess if you got 40 out in the last 2 months, 60 days, it would be fair to say by the next meeting, you could have the remaining 20 by your count gone.
Yeah.
But Daryl, don't say yeah,
Yeah.
if
Right.
it's not going to happen. That's how we've gotten here, and that's why the level of frustration is rising. That's why we wanted a plan. If you can really come back in 30 days and the other cars are going to be removed, and that really is going to happen, that'd be some great news, and we could work on a plan for that. But I'm telling you, feel the frustration. If we come back in 30 days and this isn't cleaned up, I'm afraid the frustration is going to overflow.
All right.
Okay? And the board can speak for itself, but I want to be crystal clear with you on the record. If we get this cleaned up, this well business is going to, it looks like it's got a really good chance of continuing. That's what the board members have been telling you for months. But they want it cleaned up. So I don't want, barring some medical emergency,
Right.
I don't want you to say something to get another 30 days. Because I think we've done that a few times, in all fairness, through this process. So again, to the question of, does 30 more days make it so that when Mr. Brickner drives out there the day or so before the meeting, which he's going to,
Right.
several members may, is it going to be cleaned up, or are we going to be back here with, we still have 15 to deal with?
Try to get the rest of them out of there in a month. I mean, I trying to work both ways, and it was wet and muddy too, you know. So, but I got 40 of them out. I can get the rest of them out. But that's up to you guys. You know.
Jim, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I'm inclined to continue this maybe for 30 more days, but I think we've been pretty fair. And if you say you can get those 20 out, to Scott's point, I would be fine with that, but yeah, you come back in 30 days and there's still 11 left. I think you're probably going to face some pretty heavy opposition. And we don't want to see your well drilling business go away, but we've been more than fair up to this point.
Luther?
I just want to make sure that Daryl understands what we're saying.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Okay, and that's all I say, and
Ryan?
I have no more.
Yeah. You will have plenty of time to get rid of those vehicles if you lose your business.
No, I know. I understand.
Okay. But I'm the one that came up with the original concept to work with you. Hope you remember.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? This is like the fourth time?
Third or fourth.
Yeah,
Third or fourth? Doesn't matter. Every time I don't think you really fully understand the grasp of the nature of this issue. We're asking you to clean your property up. And then your excuse is, well, I got to run my business. Well, you won't have a business. How much money would you lose if you have to because you could relocate your business. You could find the appropriate place. But we don't want to hear it's almost like you just tell us what you think we want to hear. But every time we tell you, we want to hear what's reasonable to you so that we don't get mad. Okay? So do you need 30 days? Do you need 60 days? I don't think I would be for anything more than that. But we don't want to sit here and listen to you telling us you're trying. Oh, I'm trying. And I've got 10 out of 40. If it needs 60 days, say 60 days. If it needs 30 days, say 30 days. If it needs 6 months, well, sorry, we're not going to accept that. But we just want truth, not you telling us what you think we want to hear. Period.
Chrissy, how long has this case been going on now?
I don't know, I've been here for 13 years, and I think he's been in front of the board and
Well, this,
for this use variance, and there's probably for the last, I don't know, it's been a minute.
A long time.
Well, it took a while for all those cars to pile up in there, so yeah, it's been in violation with the county but we tried working with them.
How many wells have you drilled lately?
How many have I put in? 2 a week, plus service work.
The well drilling equipment looked like it'd been stored there for quite a while. I just
No, there's one.
were using it lately or not.
Yeah, the ones that are under the carport, those are the other ones. I just picked up another drilling rig, which is getting ready to be transferred on another truck because it's underneath a gas motor. So I'm changing that over.
So how would you do without your well drilling variance?
I have to move somewhere else.
Because as far as I'm concerned, that's the next step.
I've been in business for
Lose your variance for your
26 years, so.
So if you could work with that, with that in mind, then maybe it'll give you some motivation to get rid of those cars.
Right.
We got a motion?
not yet.
I make a motion to give him 60 days to adequately clean up his property to the board's opinion.
60 days.
I'll second that.
So the April meeting?
That would be,
The April meeting.
yeah, that's sometime in April, 60 days.
Yep.
Okay, so that would be April 17th.
That is what I would like my motion to be.
Okay.
We're under discussion.
Yep.
I just want to make a comment. So we're giving you 60 days for it to be completely cleaned up. And I can't speak for the whole board, but in 60 days, if it's not completely cleaned up, it's probably gonna end right there, and you're probably not gonna get your variance.
Okay.
60 days. And I probably would have said 30, but 60, I can live with that.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded to continue for 60 days, at which time the petitioner will come in here with the number of automobiles that you've been able to deplete. And it should be all of them in 60 days. There shouldn't be any left in 60 days, except your personal vehicles, which we have already okayed, and your well drilling equipment. You understand
Yep,
where you are now, Daryl?
yep.
Make it a good meeting, Daryl.
I'm gonna do an all in favor, Marvin?
It's a good thing this board likes you, you know?
Marv, you can do it by roll call vote.
Okay, roll call vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. You have 60 days, Daryl.
All right. Thanks.
Make it a good April, Daryl.
I think that's very generous. That concludes our old business. We have the new business cases, and I'm going to read the rules of conduct for a discussion of new business. At a public hearing before the board, the petitioner or the petitioners or petitioners shall first present the facts and arguments in support of the case. Those who oppose the petitioner shall follow. The petitioner shall then have rebuttal time at the conclusion of those opposing the petition. Those opposed then shall be allowed a total maximum of 10 minutes to review any new statements made by the petitioner or in his rebuttal. It should be within the discretion of the board to impose any time limitations on either the petitioner or the respondent, and to limit public comment to those determined by state statute to be interested parties. Written remonstrances shall be accepted by the board, but need not be read into the board's records. This then concludes the public hearing. To maintain orderly conduct and procedure, each side shall proceed without interruption by the other. All materials presented by the petitioner and or the remonstrators or supporters of the petition, including photographs, shall become the property of the board and part of the record. So with that, we have the first case, Joshua C. Cope, 114 North, 641 West Valparaiso in Union Township, Rural Residential District, to continue the operation of an online business with sporting goods, firearms, in a retail store from the residents. And that's you.
That is me, yes, sir.
Okay, state your name and address, please.
Joshua C. Cope, 114 North, 641 West, Valpo.
Okay, will you tell the board, please, what you plan to do or what you want to do,
Sure thing.
residents?
Yeah, certainly. So looking to continue the current variance that I have that expires this month in accordance with ATF regulations that I am in compliance with the local municipality rules. So what I do is I'm a home-based FFL, governed by the ATF, just like any brick and mortar stores out there. And, I'm a collector as well. So I do a little bit of online business through online auctions and things like that, buying and selling. I can do online transfers. Online or in-person transfers, rather. Not necessarily doing a lot of that stuff. I've got my numbers from the last couple of years. But anyways, looking to get continuance of the current variance that I have for another 3 years.
Okay.
Any complaints?
No, we haven't had any complaints, but I did want, with the, ATF, when does your permit expire? Is it in June? Because I want to try
That's
to
correct.
make sure
Yeah.
that when we schedule this, that it's in June and not February.
Yeah.
In 3 years.
Exactly. So, if it were approved today, it would be 3 years plus whatever. So
Yeah.
it expires June,
First?
yeah, the 1st.
So you need the variance before you can,
That is correct. So coming up in May, I'm going to reapply if granted this evening,
that's
and
normal.
I have to supply that.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak for or against? I don't have anybody on the sheet for,
You don't have anyone.
there's nobody signed in to speak for or against this petition. So I'm gonna close it to the public hearing and open it to the board for questions.
Sure.
Brian, do you have any?
No, I like no complaints, and that's enough for me.
Nothing's really changed as far as traffic?
Nothing's changed, no.
I'm fine.
I make a
anything
motion
closer?
to approve, continuation of this variance for another 3 years, UV 2024-1.
Should we do 3 years and 2 months?
Yeah, just have it expire, just say come back in May of.
Yeah, could we just put a date on it?
Yeah.
Just say,
Or June after he gets approved.
Yeah.
That way they have time to go out there and check if there's any issues, they can address, because I did talk to them, they can address it with me, and then
Yeah.
by the time the June meeting comes, if there's any issues,
sure.
we can have it addressed at that time.
Do you want to adjust your motion?
Yes, I'll adjust it to what they said. I thought that the way I said it to correspond with the existing ATF.
I have, you said firearms and sporting goods. What are you referring to as sporting goods?
Yes, sir. So if I were to sell a firearm to you per se, Marvin, and I
All
sold,
related to the firearm, so it's not sporting goods other than firearms, right? Or other than,
well, such as a case or a sling or a scope. So sporting goods, meaning,
Or guns,
equipment and,
not baseball.
It's not basketball.
no,
Okay,
no, no, sir.
No
Yeah,
other sport.
everything relating to target hunting, that stuff.
okay. Which building is yours back there? I drove back there, I didn't know for sure which one was,
The furthest one back,
first one on the,
all the way back down, yep. Dead ends at my place.
it's pretty remote
Yeah,
area back there.
Just wait,
yeah,
right?
it's nice.
How many acres you got?
2.7, not a lot.
But you don't want that. I'll borrow it as many times as you need. You don't want to give that to me.
Who's second the motion? Brian?
Yeah.
Voting for case UV 2024-68, Marvin Brickner, yes. Brian Dammit, yes. Luther Williams, yes. Jim Florida, yes. Motion carries 4-0.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
See,
And will it be like last time? I'll get a letter?
Yeah, we'll notify you.
Okay. Am I good to continue operating
Yes.
yes.
currently until I get that
Yes.
letter? Even though my last one was like the 17th or something like that. So we're
No,
past.
you're good.
Good. All right. Perfect. Thank you
If
all.
anyone has any questions, they can contact our office.
Certainly.
Ask for me.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
The next case is case UV 2024-1. The applicant Carl and Angela Bergler, 165 West 500 North in Valparaiso, Center Township, R2 medium density, single family resident zoning to allow a small business out of an accessory structure that focuses on softball and baseball skills. Would you please tell the board,
State your name and address for the record and the reason.
state your name and address, yes.
You got it. My name is Carl Bergler. This is my wife Angela. Our address is 165 West, 500 North, Valparaiso.
Okay. Tell the board what you have in mind for this business in your pole barn.
Okay. I believe you're pulling up, yeah, there you go. So on the large screen here, this is the property where we live and farm the land. My wife and I, we both work full-time. We have 3 children who are very involved in playing sports. In addition to my wife working at Valparaiso High School as a registered nurse, she accepted an assistant varsity softball coaching position at the high school in March of 2023. My 11-year-old daughter recently started playing travel softball in July of 2023. With softball becoming such a large part of our lives, and with our vested interest in Valpo softball being competitive at a high level, we've recognized the need for development opportunities for young players in the Valparaiso area. While there are a couple other facilities in the surrounding areas in Valpo, it's been clear to us that the area is underserved for player development. For that reason, and for the feedback that I've received from parents on my wife's ability to develop players and be a role model for young softball players, we are seeking a use variance to be able to run a part-time, appointment-only small business out of our existing pole barn that focuses primarily on softball and baseball.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from the board?
Yes.
Luther?
Maybe public
Wait,
comment
we
first.
need to hear from the public first.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Those that are here to speak against this petition first, would you come up to that microphone right there and state your name and address?
Hi, Chris Kozlowski, 193 West, 550 North, Valparaiso, Indiana, 46385. I wanted to bring up the point when they asked for the recent variance, the prior one, that they said they had no intentions of ever starting a business in this place. And we were all assured that it was just going to be his dad's tractors. So is his dad's tractors leaving? Now there's going to be a business?
Just address all your questions to the board.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll write them down and answer them at the end
Oh,
after
okay.
everyone has spoken.
Okay, I can do on my list now and then answer it?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, all right, thanks, I wasn't sure. All right, and, presently it's a single-family area. With all new building with Old Toft there, they're all doing single-family. I want to know if this, with this variance, does it turn the complete big lot of property, is that going to be rezoned also?
He's not here for a rezone.
Okay,
We'll answer your questions.
yeah, and then, okay. And what type of business entity will it be? Is it going to be a club or open to the public? As far as parking, lighting, and signage, and how many extra vehicles, the maximum occupancy for the building. And then you got street safety there because you come up Froberg Road going north and you head west on 500 North, right in front of their property, you got a blind driveway right there. So when you come around that corner, you're gonna have people stopping and you're gonna have to hit the brakes and stuff because people can't even negotiate the corner now and stay on the right side of the street. And then, well, as far as emergency exits, I noticed it might only be like one overhead door and that's not an emergency exit. So if they had some kind of fire or catastrophe in there, how would they get the students out? And I was just wondering, another thing, is it gonna be like, people gonna be able to pull up any time of the day or when their hours of operation? Hey, can I join this? You have more and more traffic there. And I feel it's more in keeping with an industrial type area. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to respond to his?
Yeah, I apologize if I did not get.
Oh,
Wait, no,
wait.
we
I
need
think
to hear all
everybody-
board
Name and
comments
address.
first. No, Marvin.
Sorry,
Marvin, no. We
You-
need to hear everybody from the
Oh,
public.
is there
first.
anyone else to speak for or against this petition? Anyone else? All right,
Now you can address the questions.
Okay.
I'm gonna close the public hearing then.
Well, no, let them address the questions and then they have
Okay.
another chance.
All right, would you respond to his?
Yeah, so my apologies if I missed some of the questions that you asked there. We did have a previous meeting about the height of our building. We had a meeting about that in May of 2022. And when that meeting happened, the reason why we had that meeting was because Morton did not submit the paperwork correctly. At that time, we were granted a height variance. And I did agree to not open a business, which I have not done. I had no intention of doing that in May of 2022. As I stated earlier, my wife accepted a position in softball for the high school in March of 2023, and my daughter just started playing travel softball in July. So this is, again, only going to be by appointment only. We live in the area too, and we have children, and I understand people that have concerns. I read some of the letters that people had written in. And I have children there too. The last thing I want to see is an area that, gets crazy busy. Same situation when I bought the land. All the neighbors that I met all thanked me for buying the area or buying the land, and were excited that it wasn't going to become a subdivision, which would really increase traffic. This is a situation where my wife and I both work full time. This is not going to be something where there's going to be any signage out, because I'm not necessarily looking to attract people that are driving by. Okay, this is going to be an appointment-only business, mostly done during the weekdays from like 5 to 8 o'clock. She works full-time, I work full-time. Neither one of us have any intention of changing our full-time job. We just know that Valpo softball can be better. Frankly, our children have grown up here a little bit playing softball, and we believe there's a big opportunity to develop young people that really want to get great. So I know that she can do that and help this area with that, because that's what she's very strong at. I don't have any intention of adding any lighting. There's already 15 lights between the building, the house, and the pillars that border the driveway. I know I'm missing some of your questions, and I apologize. Safety in the area, I have between what's pointed towards the driveway and the barn included, we have over 5 security cameras there. The whole point of this meeting, we did not operate a business. We're not operating a business. And the point of this meeting is to seek that request in a special use variance. So I hope that I answered your questions to the best of my ability there.
I have 2 people signed up to speak for this petition. Would you like to come up and,
I believe one was my wife, but
that's just you 2? Okay.
yeah, so.
Okay. Any other
Yeah,
comments?
yeah,
Take your name and address again for the record.
okay, Chris Kozlowski, 193 West, 550 North, Valparaiso, Indiana, 46385. Yeah, I was wondering what kind of business entity was going to be, I asked.
I'm sorry, I didn't answer that earlier. Can I answer that right now?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, this is the plan. We haven't done anything yet because we obviously don't have approval to do anything yet. But the plan is to do it as a sole proprietorship. This would be my wife and I. We aren't going to have any outside employees that don't reside at our residence. So it's us and our 3 children.
And okay, another thing, is it going to be a club or open to the public?
Neither a club nor open to the public. It's going to be appointment only. It's mainly going to be people that want to work with my wife so that she can train them in the barn. A lot of times that's going to be one-on-one type training.
Individual hitting.
Okay, and then I asked about parking. I know you addressed the lighting. Like, how many vehicles do you think might be there all the time? And
Like if it's just like a one-on-one training, you're talking about 1, maybe 2 cars. There's only going to be 2 batting cage lanes, so there's only so much you can do with that. If a team did want to come hit and rotate through on a batting cage, that could be up to like 10 cars, 12 cars, depending on the size of a team. But that's about it.
oh, and I was wondering, is it going to be like any outdoor type of practice, or is it all going to?
Address your questions, sir.
Oh, yeah. I just turned my head. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was just wondering, if it's going to be like any outdoor type of.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, we're not planning on doing anything outdoors, just inside only. And I think maybe you said something about sound. The building is, it's done with acoustic steel on the inside to prevent any sounds, but if anybody can hit a softball that hard, I'd love to meet them.
Well, see, I live next door to somebody who tried pulling that. Builder bought some property next to me, and he turned the pole barn into a practice place. All you could hear is the boom, boom, constantly when they were doing that. Not that it's real loud,
Yeah.
but you do hear the noise.
Yeah.
And he never got it approved.
How close does he live to you?
It was.
Wait till he, wait.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's right. And then I was wondering about, like, as far as the maximum occupancy of people that can be in there, is that okayed by the fire marshal or whatever? How do they do that? And, the safety exits, the signage and stuff like that. But I know we were sure there's gonna be no type of business there. And after they said it was gonna be no type of business, I didn't object to the last time. I took my objection away, and I was in favor of what they built, because it looks pretty nice, but, Once, you know, you get your foot in the door, you got the slippery slope, well, next it'll be a wedding venue, next it'll be this, and we'll open up something bigger, you know, and we want this variance and that variance possibly, you know? But I didn't think I'd be here right now, so that's why I'm saying I got a concern.
Okay.
Thanks.
I think those issues will most certainly be addressed if in fact there is a variance to allow business here. By fire and safety, everything would have to be addressed. Any remarks? I'm sorry, would you like to respond to?
I think a lot of those questions you've just answered, and yeah, nothing else to add for that.
Anyone else like to speak for or against? And I can close the public hearing, okay. Questions from the board? Luther?
So what will you do for parking, I guess I would ask? You know, how would you take care of the potentially 12 or 15 cars? And what would have to be done, I guess, to the driveway? Maybe some exits, I don't know.
You can answer.
That's all gonna be part of the life safety.
This is a,
It's gonna-
Okay, I apologize.
it's a dialogue now.
Yeah,
So your first question was how would we handle parking now?
yeah,
10 to 12 cars easily fit there. Right now, I can park those. That's 283 foot of driveway, and it's 83 foot wide between.
sorry.
The driveway is 283 foot long,
okay,
and it's 83 foot wide from my house to the pad of the barn.
okay.
So we have never had any issues. You know, we have friends over, 12 people coming over the house.
Union.
You have a Super Bowl party, things like that. We've never had any issues with parking. We've had semis be able to pull in there and turn around, and I believe we do have ample parking. I believe your second question was about the driveway. The driveway is 36 feet wide at the entrance. The smallest it gets, I have 2 concrete pillars that provide additional lighting on the driveway. That's 20 foot wide there. But, you know, we easily can get 2 cars. I pass her, you know, when we're running errands or what during the day. So did not plan on changing anything with the driveway unless told to do so.
Originally, the height variance was granted to park farm equipment in it. Now, is that still being done?
I have farm equipment in it from time to time. It changes depending on what we have going on, what season's going on. But that is the point of having a height variance. I did not need a height variance for, you know, to put in softball training. So the building already has an interior height of 20 foot high, and softball training, we don't require that massive height. That's the reason why we did that, was for farming.
Okay.
There's something I'd like to read before we go on. Any more questions? Accessory structures, UDO's Chapter 5, .06, appearance of the exterior finish and the facade of each accessory structure shall match closely or resemble the finish, facade, materials used on the primary structure, the house. Accessory structures used strictly for agricultural purposes are exempt from this regulation. So according to this, the only thing that this pole barn can be used for is agricultural storage. You did not closely resemble your house when you built the pole barn. The finish of this pole barn is not anywhere near the appearance of the primary structure. So you've limited yourself, by building it that way, you've limited yourself to strictly agricultural storage. No boats, no trailers, no SUVs, nothing else can be stored in this building or done in this building unless this facade matches your house.
Okay.
And you didn't build it that way.
Okay. When I built, sorry.
This is the UDO. This is our ordinance. Just like our ordinance said 20 feet is the maximum size of the building, but you built it 30. We're all a puzzled, like, how did you get 30 feet out of, the plans you submitted were 20 feet. Morton built a building 30 feet. So you've already violated that ordinance, you know, and the other thing, did you get a building permit for this?
Did I get a building permit for what, sir? For building the barn?
Did you get a building permit to build this building?
Yes, Morton, yep.
Marv, they were going through the permitting process. Then with the height was caught. They've been before the hearing officer and got the variance for the height.
They got a variance for the height?
Correct. So earlier, when everyone was talking about them coming here and getting a variance, that was in May of 2022. And there was a public hearing. And
The variance was after they built the building though, right?
correct.
So you built it 30 feet high, which was a violation of the ordinance, and then you got a variance for it.
Is that, am I stating, because obviously it was before the hearing.
The building was under construction when the issue was caught. They stopped the operation of the building or building the building. We had the height variance. The height variance was approved. Morton is the one that submitted the paperwork, and they submitted incorrectly. And that is why Morton was the one that actually scheduled that meeting and represented themselves and us. So
I have a question. How do we know, what's the square footage of this building?
the square footage of the building is roughly 7,500 square feet.
7,500? How do we know that?
Well, I have the actual as-built of the building.
Well, it's supposed to be 20 feet high too.
It was not supposed to be 20 foot high.
Supposed to be 20 feet high.
The interior height was supposed to be 20 foot high.
Feet, how do we know you got the right square footage? You gotta go out and measure it, or what?
I do have what the building was designed by and what they built the building at. So, I mean, you can certainly verify that by measuring it, which is, I believe was part of the process of getting approved to build the building.
Well, I personally think this building is way out of place. It doesn't fit. There's no other buildings like this anywhere near there. It is black with, gray with black trim. It's the wrong height. And most certainly, it's built for storing of agricultural equipment, and you didn't match the facade of the building with grounds.
Can I speak on the color?
Those are the things that really bother me about this.
Yeah.
My house, I understand what you're saying. When you look at the house, you may not, and I don't know that we're here to speak about the color of the barn today, but my house is black, white, and gray.
I saw
My barn is gray and black.
Color of your pole barn, so, that's not a point of argument at all. It doesn't resemble, and that's the only way that you can have a building for any other use except agricultural equipment,
So,
according to our UDOs.
so let me explain maybe in a different way what Marv is saying. The barn, forget about the height problem. I've reread the minutes from it. I see that Morton hired an attorney to come do the public hearing. They admitted it was their mistake. It was always supposed to be 30. That would have kicked in the variance. It got caught in the process. But beyond that, in our UDO, there's a standard for accessory structures when it's non-agricultural. And part of what Marv is reading to you is the non-agricultural accessory building. It's a different height, it's a different height, it's a different square footage, and it's a different facade material, okay? If this would have been a residential, non-agricultural accessory building, it probably, at a bare minimum, would have had to match more closely the house. So I believe what Marv is trying to say is that we utilized some of the exceptions for the agricultural to get to the facade material that was utilized, again, on the height portion of it. That was the reason for the additional height was for the machinery, because originally this was going to be the place where the machinery was going to be repaired. We were going to have outside vendors come in and repair the farm material. At least according to the minutes is what I'm reading, okay? So,
We did request a bathroom, and they said in case someone had to come in,
Correct.
that's where it's getting, if you had to work on the machine, that they could use.
Sure.
so the building itself is fundamentally different because we went down the agricultural route, and those ordinances are different because it's farming, okay? And so that is, I believe, what Marv is trying to say, is that part of what one of his issues is that now we're going to circle back around and use it for a semi-commercial purpose. That's what I believe he's attempting, and I want you to understand what he's saying.
Okay, thank you for explaining that further.
I would like to address my, I guess, experience with something like this, which is very, very, very high. Okay? I don't really want to talk about facades and heights and things like that. My father built a batting barn in the middle of the country, had 2 pitching lanes and 2 batting cage lanes, a bathroom, small kitchen, full court basketball court, where him and a farmer got in together and raised the money and built that for the community. And I spent many a very, very cold January and February nights in that barn, waiting for the dang heaters to heat up. Because baseball and softball practices start very, very early before the ground even thaws. And the facilities available for those sports are usually gyms where you cannot do batting practice. You're lucky if you can even use a real ball, because the schools are going to determine you don't want to tear up the gym. If you're lucky, we are in a lucky area, but I don't know how lucky that you even have an indoor batting cage. It's very important to the athletes to train in the winter so they're ready to start really working on their field work and getting, just to further tell you, my father built a batting cage in my next door house and a baseball field with lights. He was sued over those lights. So I'm very passionate about these kind of offerings to the community. Essentially what she's offering is private lessons and or having the team come over for batting practice in the winter. They're not coming over there in the fall. They're not coming over there during the season because they're going to be out on the actual fields. So I can tell you this will be a very limited time. And now you're not going to like what I say, Marv, but I am not a fan of this whole facade thing. I think it's more about whether it's beautiful or not. It seems like an old code, a code that says, well, you got a beautiful house and a crappy barn. But that right there, that is probably more expensive than my house. That's gorgeous. And they have plenty of parking. There's not going to be more than one whole softball or baseball team that can even remotely get in there. So you're talking 15 kids. Most likely, some of the kids are going to be going together in the same car. I would doubt it ever exceeds 15 cars. I drive that road almost every Wednesday because I drop my daughter off in Valpo and have to drive to Portage from my work. So I drive down Froberg every day. I have never seen that barn. So height-wise, I didn't even know it was there. Now, also with not being in line with the surrounding territory, once again, I'm a fan of, can we stop building more houses for all these people that are coming from you know where? He's got a farm, a massive land that he's maintaining, and right next to it is all neighborhoods. The left to the west is gonna be neighborhoods, to the south is gonna be neighborhoods. It's not gonna be long, it's all gonna be neighborhoods. This takes me back to the guy that wanted to build a barn without a primary structure, and I was totally for it, because he wouldn't have bought that property if he couldn't have gotten that variance. What it would have become was another neighborhood. So, those are my opinions.
My point is, Porter County has unified development ordinances.
But that's why there's a
Petitioner in this
process.
case-
Everyone has their own
There's-
opinion, Brian. Everyone has their own opinion, and just speak for yourself.
I know, no, I'm just saying, that's why we have a process.
Petitioner in this case has ignored the development ordinances.
Okay.
He built the building to the wrong size, actually started without a building permit. Now he has the wrong facade on there to have a business in his building. It nowhere resembles what the ordinance requires. And if we want to ignore these ordinances, I guess that's one thing that's something we should probably discuss at other times, but that's what's happened here. And I just don't think that anybody should be rewarded with a variance for a business when they have absolutely ignored the UDOs. I'd like to make a motion to deny case UV 2024-1 for the reason that the Porter County Unified Development Code has not been adhered to, and it's not in the best interest of the citizens of Porter County.
Is there a second? Is there a second? Motion dies. Floor is open.
Still undecided. I have a couple questions. Can you just tell us a little bit about, as far as, like, Brian brought up some good points and so did Marv, but what are your expected hours of operation? Is this only going to be winter time? Or do you expect to be, have folks out there in the summer where then all of a sudden now you do have folks out in your yard hitting or whatever? Or is this just strictly like a, November through, March type thing?
Yeah, I can answer that. So I'm not going to say we're going to limit ourselves to a season, although he's right. A lot of these teams, they're not going to want to come hit in a barn when it's beautiful outside. Neither one of us are changing our job. She's a nurse and a coach, and I have a full-time job as well. This is something we're going to operate extra when we're not doing those jobs. So a lot of times that's going to be from like a 5 to 8 during the weekdays. We're busy with travel softball a lot during the weekends. If we don't have a game and there's an opportunity for somebody to come hit with her or, rent a batting cage, then certainly we would want to do that. But I wouldn't, for the most part, I think he's right. I think that's when it's going to be interesting to people, is when you can't hit anywhere else. But it's mainly going to be, the weekday nights.
Appointments.
I'm trying to wrap this around my head because I do appreciate what you guys are doing, and I do think it's great for the community. But Marv does have some valid points, and so does Brian. So I'm trying to figure out how to make it work in my head, because the building doesn't fit the UDO. There was a commitment letter, I guess, saying that you wouldn't ever open a business. I know that things change.
Yeah.
But also at the end of the day, there's also probably other properties you could do this on. Although it doesn't sound like it's a huge business, right? So economically, that probably wouldn't make sense. But I guess I would defer to the rest of the board now while I'm trying to kind of, but I might have some more questions here in a minute.
For the sake of clarity, I want to be clear. Let's go back to the beginning of this building. There was a permit application. There was a permit before this building got started. During that process, with the permit, on one of the inspections, it was determined it was too tall. Morton, the builder, is the one who did the petition and had the attorney here. That's why we had Attorney Swarden at the time representing Morton on behalf of the family. So, yes, the building needed a variance for height, but I don't want the board to think we caught them building a barn without a permit and then found out it was too tall or too big. There was a mistake on the application. A permit was issued for this barn at 20 feet in height. That was caught, and then that was corrected with the variance. So we didn't necessarily chase them down and from the beginning. It was caught on one of the inspections, if that helps with anybody's interpretation.
And they did immediately come in after that and file for a variance. Because Bob Thompson was here and Bob and I talked to them at the counter to see what the story was.
What do you see the actual facility catering to baseball and softball training to be? You said 2 batting cages?
Yeah, there's 2 batting cages. We had 2 pitching machines, we had 2 batting cages, and then there's a
You
little.
already have them.
Yes, I own batting.
For
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I
So-
told you I had a batting.
So I
Okay, so
I have
you got-
2 batting cages, and then there's a little bit of a section for like fielding and any extra agility work that you would do, yeah.
Any pitching cages?
Not necessarily pitching cages, but we have a couple pitching mats, yeah, that people could pitch off of, sure.
In the batting cage?
Yeah, it's got a retractable net that we can pull back to one wall when we're not using it.
Yeah. So just in regards to the noise, you have appropriate nets that would stop a ball from ever hitting any portion. Because, I mean, really, that's where the noise would come from. Not a kid that accidentally throws a ball over a kid's head. It's going to hit once
Yeah,
at night.
it's called a shell cage, and it covers the entire facility, yes.
Yeah. I think it's important that if this was to be approved, that we would start with absolutely no outdoor training. Is that acceptable?
Yes, the only thing I want to throw out there is my kids are going to play in the yard.
No, yeah, your kids,
They like,
I just want to be clear because,
kids' friends are softball players. That's fine. But if you're billing,
yes, thank you. We will not be charging people to play outside and
yes,
Yeah.
you can have the whole neighborhood play baseball out there.
Yeah.
That's allowed.
Any more questions from the board or a motion?
I was just gonna say, so at first it sounded like this was gonna be kind of a full-fledged business, 8 hours a day where a car's kind of coming in and out constantly, kind of like the courts, right, or something like that. It's sounding more and more like it's gonna be more individuals, limited traffic. I think I would be fine with this. I think Brian was kind of starting to get there as long as it was the proper stipulation, no signage, no lighting, no outdoor as far as, if you're charging, obviously your kids and stuff want to play out there. As long as the proper stipulations were in place, and I'm sure you're probably gonna have to talk to some folks about proper egress and exit signs and things like that in the actual building, but I think I'd be fine with this because it is sounding more and more like it's just individual, not a ton of traffic. It's not going to be really a full-fledged business. You're actually doing a community as service and just kind of getting rewarded a little bit for your time. I think I'm fine with it so long as the proper stipulations are put in place so that it doesn't turn it. I don't want a big sign out front. We don't want 40 cars there and all day, every day.
we don't want that. I mean, we live,
Your neighbors don't want that.
no.
It's I almost like equate it to a personal trainer with a small gym in their basement, but for
I'm not gonna lie, my wife's a personal trainer and we have a pool. There's been times when people came over to our house and she personally trained them in our pool. Like it wasn't a business, but
yeah, yeah.
The other tool in the tool bag that you have is that this can be for periods of time to make sure we don't have issues, and if we do have issues, we can address those issues.
And I would say do it maybe first time for maybe 1 year, just to make sure there isn't anything going awry. And then in a year, again, if it passes, then we can kind of maybe possibly do it longer or maybe shut it down, depending on the development. I think I would be fine with that. Again, proper stipulations in a very short, 1 year period.
If someone's going to make a motion,
I was about to.
it's going to need to include signage,
Yep,
hours of operation,
yep,
maximum cars,
yep. Outdoor,
days of the week,
outdoor.
the outdoor, the absolute latest it can be open.
I got it.
Is there anything else? And then I guess it would be, instead of saying no lighting, no additional lighting.
No increased light. I make a motion to approve UV 2024-1 with the current, or with the following stipulations: that there will not be allowed to be more than 16 cars on the property that are guests, paying guests, for this purpose of this business, that no increased lighting is provided due to this business, no business-related activities outside of the barn, that there will be 2 batting cages and a small practice area and no more. The hours of operation to be from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Well, my question on that would be, like, during the weekday, that's our intention, but like, if we don't have a tournament on a Saturday, can somebody rent it from, you're saying no?
No,
Okay,
we're
great.
always.
We just got weekends off, so, okay.
Can we not wait the year and open it up further if
That's up to the board.
up to the board? So for now, we're hoping to get you approved. So no hours of operation between outside of 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday for now. Is there any other? Oh, no, absolutely no signage, 0 signage.
Period of time.
How many years?
For 1 year duration, upon which we will reevaluate and rediscuss these terms.
Okay.
Did you get everything, Scott?
We gotta do something with, I think we need to do something with fire, and I'm trying to figure the most reasonable thing to do.
What does it have? Does it just have a big roll-up door for now?
It's got a big roll-up door, so a 24-foot door. It's got a man door, and then there's 3 windows. There's actually 2 windows on the west side of the building, and there's 3 windows on the south side of the building that are all,
And you're having to put another man door like on the backside to have proper egress. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but. Because your man door is probably up front, right next to your roll-up door. Right?
well, it's on the same side of the building.
Yeah, so if there's a fire on that end of the building, both those doors are not accessible, right?
Yeah.
Something on the backside. Just like a house, or building, any other commercial building.
Do we wanna do Hadler, or do we wanna do? So maybe the best option would be requesting that the ingress and egress for fire purposes be reviewed by Center Township, the Valpo Fire Department, or the Center, I believe they have a fire territory, so the Center Township Fire Department, whatever the name, official name may be, specifically for ingress and egress purposes. And then I would want that to be after the batting cages were up. Again, I want to make sure there's ways to get out if we need to get out. That's I'd like to have that T crossed. So that would be my suggestion to be added.
So I would like to add that to the motion in the exact words as Scott stated.
How about injury insurance? A petitioner have to have insurance for any kind of injuries that may occur, especially in a baseball environment where you have a pitching machine or. you have
Here's an
some-
umbrella insurance, you could,
Yeah, you're gonna want that.
he knows he doesn't want, he could lose his house. I don't want to add that to the motion.
is there a second?
Does that complete your motion? Second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Ballots are heading your way. No problem.
Yeah. Mhm.
Voting for case UV 2024 one. Jim Clarita, yes. Luther Williams, yes. Brian Dammit, yes. Marvin Brickner, no. Motion carries 3-1. So you guys are approved for
1 year.
1 year, yeah.
And then, will I get like a notification to come back and?
Yeah, we'll contact you, and then if you could contact your fire department and have them come out there for safety, if there's some, give us some kind of report that it's safe, that you guys are good to go, if there was something, people could get out, that's just what we need.
Okay, I can do that.
Yep.
I'd be surprised if your insurance company didn't want that information as well.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's over.
Anything, anybody else have anything? I'm gonna adjourn the meeting. Meeting's adjourned. This is.
Yeah. I thought,